The flames danced like golden serpents against the black night sky, their light painting the walls of Chittor in red and gold. The sound of war drums echoed from the distance. The enemy was closing in. Inside the palace stood the queen, calm yet unyielding. She was dressed in a red bridal gown, jewels shimmering like fire. Her name was Rani Padmini, and her gaze held no fear, only peace. Behind her, hundreds of women stood with trembling hands and steady hearts. She looked at them and said softly, "Tonight, the fire will take our bodies, but not our honor." Then she stepped toward the sacred flames. Welcome to Tales Left Behind. If you love true stories of courage, sacrifice, and forgotten heroes of history, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Now, let us return to where her story truly began. Years before that night, in the golden deserts of Rajasthan, a princess was born in the distant kingdom of Singhal. Her father was a wise ruler, her mother gentle and kind. From a young age, Padmini was different. She loved horses, poetry, and the sound of the morning wind through the dunes. Her laughter echoed through the palace halls, and people whispered that her eyes were brighter than the moon. As she grew, her beauty became legend, but it was her intelligence and calm spirit that truly set her apart. Poets called her the Jewel of Singhal, yet Padmini did not dream of jewels or thrones. She longed for a life of purpose, of love, of meaning. One day, while riding through the forest, she met a young king, Rawal Ratan Singh, ruler of Chittor. He was brave and noble, a man respected by his people and feared by his enemies. When their eyes met by the river, time seemed to pause. They spoke not as rulers, but as equals, of duty, courage, and the cost of peace. When Ratan Singh left, the winds carried her name back to Chittor. Months later, he returned, not as a stranger, but as a suitor. Their marriage was a celebration of two kingdoms, two hearts, and one destiny. Life in Chittor was peaceful and bright. Padmini quickly became loved by the people. She opened schools, restored gardens, and sat beside her husband in the royal court. Her wisdom often guided his decisions. Many said that when she spoke, even the soldiers stood still to listen. But far away in Delhi, a new emperor rose, Alauddin Khilji. He was cunning, ambitious, and hungry for conquest. One day, he heard tales of a queen so beautiful that poets compared her to the goddess of light herself. Curiosity turned to desire, and desire to obsession. He told his council, if such a woman exists, she must be seen. No gem of India should remain hidden from the Sultan. He sent messengers to Chittor with gifts and words of peace. But Padmini sensed deceit behind the silken promises. She warned her husband, the eyes of power see beauty as possession. We must tread carefully, Ratan Singh nodded. But refusing the Sultan may invite war. We must receive him with honor and with caution. When Alauddin arrived, he asked to see the queen. Ratan Singh refused. My wife is not a trophy to be displayed. The Sultan smiled coldly. Then let me at least see her reflection, for surely even light cannot be hidden. After long debate, Padmini agreed, not to please the Sultan, but to protect her people. She stood behind a silk curtain, and her reflection appeared in a mirror. When Alauddin saw her, his smile froze. His eyes darkened with greed. He bowed politely, but inside he vowed, if I cannot have her, I will destroy everything she loves. Soon after returning to Delhi, Alauddin began his march to Chittor. An army of thousands darkened the horizon. The siege began. The first months were brutal. The Sultan's soldiers surrounded the fort. cutting off every road, every river, every breath of hope. Inside the walls, Padmini organized food for the weak and comforted the wounded. She said, "The body may fall, but the spirit of Chittor will live forever." But as time dragged on, hunger and thirst took their toll, and then came betrayal. A nobleman of Chittor, blinded by greed, sent a secret message to the Sultan's camp. He promised to open a gate if gold was delivered to his family. When night fell, Alauddin's soldiers crept through the hidden path and captured Ratan Singh. When news reached the fortress, panic swept the halls. But Padmini's voice cut through the noise. "We are not defeated yet," she said. "The fire of Chittor still burns." That night she formed a plan so daring it would echo through centuries. Disguised in armor, she led a group of warriors carrying covered palanquins. They told the guards they carried women wishing to meet their captured king. The enemy, fooled by the calm procession, allowed them to enter. When the tents closed, the palanquins opened and blades flashed in the moonlight. Arrows flew, steel clashed, and chaos filled the camp. Ratan Singh was freed. The desert wind carried the cries of battle as they escaped back to Chittor under the stars. The victory was brief. Alauddin's rage was like a storm. He swore to erase Chittor from the face of the earth. He ordered his men to rebuild their siege engines, to cut the rivers, and to block every path of escape. For months, the fortress endured the endless assault. Padmini and Ratan Singh stood side by side on the ramparts, watching the fires rise. One night, the king said, "If the walls fall, we will not live as slaves." She replied, "Then let us die as legends." The final attack came under a blood-red sky. The gates of Chittor opened one last time. The men rode out to meet their fate, roaring the name of their land. Inside the palace, the women gathered before the sacred fire. But before stepping into the flames, Padmini spoke once more, not to her people, but to history itself. "Let them call us defeated," she said, "but they will never call us dishonored." She turned to her closest friend, Queen Nagmati, and whispered, "When they write our names, may they remember that we were not born to be conquered." Then she walked toward the fire, her red dress flowing like molten gold, her eyes shining with calm defiance. The women followed, their chants rising like thunder. As the gates fell, flames reached for the heavens. When Alauddin entered Chittor, he found nothing but silence. No queen to claim, no prize to take. He stood before the ashes and said nothing. For the first time, the conqueror knew what true defeat felt like. Years passed. The fort was rebuilt, but something eternal had changed. The name Rani Padmini became a song, a poem, a prayer. Bards sang of her courage. Children learned her story by heart. Even the descendants of Alauddin spoke of her with awe. In the centuries that followed, her story became legend, a tale whispered in palaces, painted on temple walls, and carried by travelers across the desert. She was more than a queen. She was a flame that refused to die. And they say that on quiet nights, when the desert wind sweeps through the ruins of Chittor, you can still hear the soft sound of anklets, the rustle of silk, and the whisper of her last words. The fire takes the body, but not the soul. Thank you for watching Tales Left Behind. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and stay with us for more forgotten tales of courage and honor.